This is IA Forward, your playbook for success as an independent insurance agent. Here to help you knock it out of the ballpark are your hosts, Shane Tatum and Tonya Lead.
Welcome to IA Forward, and welcome to Marketing 101 for independent insurance agencies.
I don't think I'm supposed to talk during this one. I think I'm just going to sit back and listen.
I think that you've built a really successful agency over the last few decades, so I think your input's really valid on this one.
But I am the old guy now, right? And so I don't know what I'm talking about. It's not shiny and not Gen Z enough. So nobody's going to want to listen to me. So I just need to sit back and painfully watch everyone and then wait till the frustration happens. And then I'll allow the question to come out and then I'll give my opinion.
We can see people about to put their hand on the hot stove, and we can say, hey, don't touch that. It's not a good idea. And they're not going to listen. But then when they come to you with second and third degree burns saying, why do you think I got my hand burned? What do you say?
I get it, because I was that guy. First of all, I was that kid. I was that teenager. Then I was that college student. Then I was that young adult. And then I was that young insurance guy. And I thought it was a really good idea in 1998 to license this up and coming sort of really cool shiny object system. And, a couple of years later, when it wasn't functioning correctly and we were trying to get the right support, it went bankrupt. And so I'm an infamous president-elect of a users group of a bankrupt agency management system from the late 90s. Did you know that?
I did know that. Congratulations, though. I mean, I think we need business cards for that.
I know. That is not how you want to start your career, but that was who I was. And so I am coming with this reality of experience of having gone through the failure. That's the big piece of what I hope people hear. Not my tone as much as sometimes it's like, just understand most of my opinions come from failure of my own actions.
It's very grown up of you.
I'm maturing.
But let's start out talking about the number one thing that I think people come to us wanting to know about when they leave the captive world. What they have seen work is direct mail. And people come to us and they want to spend all of this money on direct mail campaigns for their new agency.
The question is does it work anymore? I am a little bit removed from my last direct mail campaign. It's probably been a decade and a half since I've done direct mail. I did migrate to direct email, being the same thing. I think our definition's important. So it doesn't just mean postcards or letters. It could be email as well. And I just didn't know that people still did this. I guess I get it in the mail and I throw it away from other types of businesses. So I guess this is going on out in the marketplace. But the fact that we still get that question is a little bit surprising.
We get that question a lot because the Allstates and State Farms of the world use direct mail as a small portion of their $3 to $5 billion a year ad spend. What people don't do is they don't look at the entire marketing budget. They look at what they spent on direct mail as an Allstate agent and say, oh, well, all I have to do is take that same amount of money, put it into my direct mail spend. Sometimes all people do is just change the logos out. They even leave it Allstate blue, which I can't even begin to understand that. But they change their logos out. They change the phone number. They send the same postcard out and they don't get any response. And the reason for that is they're not taking the billions of dollars that are being spent everywhere else to back up that logo.
I don't even know what a normal direct mail campaign cost or spend is on a monthly basis. 5, 10,000? Is that close?
I would say, depending on what you're doing, between 3,500 and 10,000.
Okay, so you put that into your new independent agency and you throw that out there. And what you have to understand is that this miss of the big brand no longer being there is every bit of the problem. You're wasting your money, in my view. There may be some niche area, there may be something around direct mail that still works. I'm not a direct mail believer, but it's because I've spent 28 years in the independent agency system, and we've never done direct mail successfully because we don't have $1 billion ad spend behind our brand. Our community brand development is good, and we get a ton of referrals, and we have referral sources, and we do things around that, event things. But what we don't do is direct mail. You're not a known brand. You're the salesperson, you're the agent. I'm a big believer in that. But people are looking at that logo, and this is one that we have to give a point or two to the other team on. That logo matters. That 50 years of Allstate and State Farm and Farmers and Nationwide and all of those captive channel organizations, that logo means something and is recognizable when it comes to this area. And when a letter or postcard goes out, it's going to catch the consumer's eye. It's just a fact. To just swap that out with a different logo and expect the same thing to happen, it's not going to happen. You might as well be burning the money in a campfire.
You're not even offering the same services as Allstate and State Farm. So why would you send the same messaging out? You're giving people choice. You're giving people the opportunity to find exactly what they need and protect the assets that mean the most to them. You're giving them the opportunity to be able to pick up the phone and call you when they have a problem, when they have a claim. Why are people even wanting to send out the same postcard when the service you're providing is so incredibly different?
There's a couple of things. I think number one, it's what we've always done. So if you're that individual and you're making that leap, or the agent you work for, if your parent was an exclusive agent owner, that's just what you know. We do tend to gravitate to comfort. Years ago, we had the same thing with right off the bat, high dollar retail storefront space and spending a lot of money on that, which was important when the big brand was your sign. That was okay. That would generate traffic. That would get a return on its spend. The direct mail piece follows that same kind of comfort. Well, this is just what I've always done. I think I'll just keep doing it.
Another marketing question that I get asked a lot is, where should I buy my leads?
Why are you asking me things that I don't like?
Shane, you've been dealing with my questioning process for 6 years now. You should be used to it.
I don't like it today, but I'll do it anyway. Disclaimer, I'm not a lead buyer. I know there's a question coming down the road that's, down the path here that's like, okay, well, Shane, if you don't do any of these things, what do you do? But again, lead buying, unless you're a Ramsey ELP, you're sharing that lead. There may be some other exclusive lead programs out there. The Ramsey lead program, it's expensive. I know there are some agents that have used it successfully, and there's agents that have, gotten out of it. And so I'm neutral there. I don't love to buy the $10 lead that gets shared 8 or 9 times. You might as well run a Yellow Page ad.
If you choose to buy those leads, you have to be so focused on that and getting those turned around immediately, because there are other people that have automation in place that are spending lots of money on that to get those quotes out to them ASAP. And if you're trying to be diligent, if you're trying to do what you need to be doing as an independent agent, then those leads just don't work.
There are agencies out in the marketplace in different areas that are really good at lead buying, and they're really good at turning those leads into clients. They're structured for it. They're specifically set up for it. They have people on the phone ready to call, ready to pounce, so to speak, and they do it at weird, odd hours. And those individuals that work for those agencies are set up and they're planned for it. It doesn't necessarily fit what I believe most of the independent agencies, most of the former captive agency producers or owners coming into the independent agency, it doesn't necessarily fit the structure that I see a lot of agencies in the marketplace today. But there are people who do this really well. And I think that comes down to, you can be really good at managing, running, growing different types of insurance agencies, but you have to structure for it. You can have a specialty non-standard auto agency and do really, really well with it if you focus on that and build processes for that and have structure around that type of client. What I see see agents go off the rails with is when they try to be all things, all types, and set up, and they're not really set up to do that. We see it with dabbling in commercial insurance, and they think it's great because they write this contractor and they forgot to ask how many certs they did, and as soon as they do the renewal, the contractor says, hey, I need all my certificates renewed. Oh yeah, well, can you send me that certificate list? And they get this list of 600 certificate holders, and it's like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And their $800 commission isn't really going to pay the bill for all those certificates that need to be issued. Understanding how you structure your agency is also understanding how you prospect in your agency. And I think that's really important. And if you're going to be a lead buying agency, if you're going to be a direct mail agency, even though I advise against it, then structure your agency in such a way that you can have success with those methods.
In reading and listening to the experts that are out there, I always find it fascinating when agents present the fact that they never leave their office, right? Everything is so automated and so structured that they never have to pick up the phone. They never have to make a phone call. They never have to go to an appointment. They never have to go and create a referral source. People just email in, or they use the app, they quote it online, they send it online, and they never speak to a human being. And I think that people are selling hooey. I don't think that happens. You have to build relationships to own a successful small business or to be the CEO of a Fortune 100 company. I've never attended a reception with the owner of a Fortune 100 company being there that they didn't come up and speak to me, or vice versa, and act like a human being. Sometimes people get bigger than their britches, to use one of those good Northeast Louisiana Southernisms there. But we get this idea that we are so good, people are just going to come to us. All I have to do is send them a postcard. Life doesn't work that way. It is about building relationships. And if you don't believe that, you probably need to go do something else.
That is 100% valid. I am a relationship guy. I'm about that. I know that there are agency owners that are doing extreme automation that are as you describe. And the issue is if you're one of those individuals who wants to create that type of thing, and you just now starting out and you want to create that highly automated organization, I have no problem with that. What you have to understand is that's not where they started. They may be highly automated today at 10 million in premium, but at $1 million in premium, at 2 million in premium, at 3 million in premium, they weren't necessarily that way. They were doing other things. And then they discovered, we might be pretty good at really automating this thing out. And it's very difficult to do that when you haven't really got your hand burnt from putting it on the hot stove. That's the piece that resonates with me the most.
If you don't want to talk to people in real life, again, this may not be the best business for you, but I think Facebook groups, community Facebook groups, are a great place to start. If you're wanting to stay in the office and sit behind your computer and try to build your business, people price shop in their community Facebook groups. They really do. And if that's the kind of business you're wanting to build, which is the same kind of business you would be building by buying leads, I think spending that time within XYZ towns, Facebook groups, swap shop groups, community outreach places, if that's the kind of business you're wanting to build, spend your time in those groups.
You're above my pay grade. I'm not in those groups. However, I did just join a group. I've been looking for a little bit of a hobby. I bought a Blackstone griddle, and I get a Blackstone private Facebook group pushed into my feed. My interest in my Blackstone griddle has reached epic proportion at this point. And so I say, well, what the heck? I'll join the group. So I joined the group, and the group has 1.1 million people in it, which blew my mind. I'm reading these things, and all these people are asking all these questions, and then the comments are hysterical to me because there's serious comments, and then there's there's really like people just being ridiculous. It's just funny. And when I see that and I hear you talk about resonating in the group, hey, it's a cult. Some of these Facebook groups, to your point, even in their community settings, are kind of cultish. And if somebody says, go to Jerry for all your insurance needs, that is all you need one time. And Jerry, you're about to get loaded.
We have one of our top award-winning agents on our agency council that has built an extraordinarily successful agency, and that's one of the tools that they use. We've seen several agents be successful with this. When it comes down to it, you are the expert. And so find what works for you. I love video. I love Googling what are the top 100 questions people ask insurance agents, and turn your phone on and start talking for 60 to 90 seconds and answer the first one of those questions, and then answer the second one of those questions, and answer the third one, and then post them 2 to 3 days a week. Post them on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday between 7:20 in the morning and 10:30 in the morning if you want to be really specific. But figuring out what works for you and then going with it, but just don't spend money the same way that you had to spend money in the exclusive world, because we're a completely different world. You left there for a reason and now you're here. So why would you keep playing the same games?
And if you're like me and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do these posts every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday because that's what I'm supposed to do, and you keep sucking it up and you don't get the Tuesday post and now you're into Wednesday and you're like, oh crap, well, do I skip it or do I wait till tomorrow because tomorrow's Thursday? Just do the stinking post and just do it, and then do it again Friday because you missed Thursday. And then maybe you're not the perfect day poster. Maybe you're not super disciplined with it, and maybe you forget a day. Don't freak out about it. This is me. I am that person. I'm trying to be better, but I get busy and I don't want to do it that day. And I just get to the end of the day and I'm like, I don't have the energy to make this post. And so guess what? I'm going to do it tomorrow. And I did it tomorrow. It's okay. Just keep doing it on some interval until you figure it out.
That whole idea is why I love doing 5 or 6 at a time. Because if you are in the mindset of creating video or in the mindset of writing a blog, usually it doesn't take a whole lot extra to pump out 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 at a time if you're in the mindset of doing one. Probably as you're doing the first one, something's going to click in your mind and think, oh, I need to write a blog post about that, or oh, I could do a video about that. Well, then do it. Don't say I'm going to do that video later and that you're going to remember and not write it down. But if you're already in the mindset and another one comes to you, go ahead and record it. And then you've got one in the bag for those 5 days out of 7 when you're probably too tired to create something.
One of the biggest problems that I have run into with video is I will get into that very thing. I will get into that mood and I will be like, okay, I'm in the mood for video today and I'm going to do video today. And then I start overthinking it. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do 4 videos. I'm wearing the same shirt. Does it matter? It probably does to certain people. Who cares? Just do the stupid video.
Most people aren't paying that much attention to your feed. Seriously.
Now you're paying attention to that.
That's because that's what I do. I even notice that people don't change their earrings. And so on my desk right now, there are 4 pairs of earrings because I notice that kind of thing. That's me. I have a little container that has earrings on my desk. But that's because that's what I do, and those are the things that I look for. But if I'm going out trying to get information about insurance and I have Googled, I need to know about home insurance in Florida, which is one of those things that you never want to have to actually Google. But whatever pops up. And if I continue to watch their feed, then yeah, I may notice that they've got on the same blue shirt, but that probably doesn't matter because they're sharing information with me. They're helping me. And then once that I've kind of established that relationship idea that they're helping me because they're sharing information with me, I don't care what they have on. I'm just ready to pick up the phone and call them.
Or just own it. Just become the blue shirt guy.
We can say that because we both have on blue shirts today.
Yeah. Then just just be in that mood of making your video and just have your video shirt. We overthink 95% of the issues that we deal with. And it's like the Yogi Berra quote, baseball is 90% mental and the other half is physical. That's what we do. Like, we completely overthink it, freak out. We don't start it because, well, I don't have my shirt on today. You just start and you just get better. I mean, it's like our podcast, right? We don't go back and listen to the first 10 because we cringe when we listen to the first 10 because, you know, I wasn't pronouncing things and you didn't like the sound quality and there's no way we can put this out. And we just had to do it, right? We just had to start putting it out there and keep doing it and find an incredible producer, and all those things came to fruition, and now we have a podcast that's 130 episodes, 100 and something, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and y'all are still listening to us, so thank you. Tell your friends. And that could be your niche. If you love to talk and you have things to say, put an insurance podcast out there. Do something, but harness your talents. Harness the things that you do best. Probably what you do best is not sending direct mail.
I will advertise one thing for those of you who just can't get past this, and it is technically a competitor of ours. There are insurance franchises that will just basically be like cookie cutter things. If that's you, then join a franchise, right? That's just the independent agency version of your exclusive company. And I think there are people, there are agents who are better fit for that. But if you want to be an independent agency, you want to be a standard preferred independent agency, then you're not going to be able to do it the same way that the exclusive system works with their gazillion-dollar ad spend.
I saw the news yesterday that Simone Biles was competing again to work toward being on the Olympic team. And I see so many people that Simone Biles has inspired during her career. And I got to thinking about it when I was a little girl. I wanted to be a gymnast. Like, I was a dancer and I wanted to be a gymnast. Well, Mom decided, okay, well, I'll take her to Bayou Gymnastics and to Mr. Jimmy, because that's at the time where everybody went to become gymnasts in Northeast Louisiana. And he's like, your child is a giant. Like, she is 6 inches taller than everybody else in this room. Your child is never going to be a gymnast. He's like, I can't even take your money. Send her to an extra dance class, send her to a piano lesson, send her to a voice lesson, acting, whatever. But we're not going to tell her that she is ever going to be a successful competitive gymnast, because it's not going to happen, right? Well, so many times I see agents see XYZ being successful, so I'm going to do everything the way XYZ is doing it. Well, first of all, you don't have XYZ's history. You don't have XYZ's support group. You have no idea what they've done to get to where they are. So what I think you need to do is figure out, as Shane said earlier, who you are and what kind of agency you want to be, and then figure out how to get there in the best way that fits you.
We do this with our kids in sports, and club sports are wrecking some athletes and really some confidence levels by buying in and telling parents that little Johnny at 10 is going to be an NFL stud or a Major League Baseball player. And they don't know. They're just lying to you to get your money. And the guy that said to your parents, to your mom, look, we don't have any 6-foot gymnast here. That's not going to happen. Bella Caroli can't take the 6-footer and turn him into a gold medalist. It's not going to happen. Kudos to them for having that conversation and being truthful. We set the tone at an early age right now because we want to think that our really, really super advanced, early developed child is going to be something that they're probably not. And I'm all for dreaming, but I also think that we need to understand that perspective. And I have a good friend who's a high school principal that has this saying when he hears parents talk about, my kid's going to be an NFL player or my kid's going to be a Division I football player. And he doesn't mean to be sarcastic. It probably comes across that way, but his answer very very, very calmly is, have you ever stood next to a Division I football player? Have you ever shook their hand? Do you understand that your 8th grader at 5'4" is probably not going to be a Division I football player? Now, I'm not saying people can't grow, and I'm not saying that growth spurt's not coming, but have you looked yourself in the mirror? Mom, you're 5'3", Dad, you're 5'8". Little Johnny's probably not going to be 6'5", 220 pounds.
Little Johnny needs to learn to be a kicker.
Excellent point, but I think it's great. Like, I think it's such a good thing to be honest and say, look, I'm not telling you that that's not going to happen. I'm just asking you, do you have a reference point for what an actual Division I football player actually looks like? Because our little small town hasn't ever produced one. Well, no. Go to a camp, pay the $350, go down to A&M, go to Texas, go to a camp, and there will be some of those players hanging around working the camp. And just go up. Just find yourself within 3 feet of them and just look. And then let's reset our perspective. And I think it's a great thing, right? And I think it's the same kind of process here is, let's not try to be somebody else. Let's be who we are. And then let's own it, love it, and be great at it.
I'm going to leave us today with this quote from Andre Agassi. Hold on to this. This is the only perfection there is, the perfection of helping others.
Attitude's a choice. Make a great one.
Bye, y'all.
Ready to get the ball rolling with your independent agency? Learn more at IntegraAgent.com. That's IntegraAgent.com. Thank you for joining us on IA Forward. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now, or learn more at IAForward.com.